Fear is the path to the dark side.
Yours is a voice of criticism we don't often hear in the United States. Often when there is dissent expressed in the United States against policies of the Israeli government, people here are called anti-Semitic.
Do you consider yourself anti-Semitic?
Hell no.
You do not.
I'm a Semite.
What is your response to that as an Israeli Jew?
Well, it's a trick. We always use it. When from Europe somebody is criticizing Israel, then we bring up the Holocaust. When in this country people are criticizing Israel, then they are anti-Semitic. It's a trick.
You're a Semite yourself.
Of Arab background.
Oh, I know you're Lebanese background, right? But you're not Jewish.
Well, what does that mean?
Well, no, you say you're, I'm just trying to clarify.
They're not Semites. I mean, most of them are from Europe.
The Jews?
Yes.
Well, okay.
It's a trick. And the organization is strong and has a lot of money, and the ties between Israel and the American Jewish establishment are very strong, and they are strong in this country, as you know.
Organized lobbyists in favor of Israel. You can't open your mouth. I can call the President of the United States anything in the book, but if you say one thing about Israel and you're off limits.
Well, that's what happened to you. I mean,
Yeah.
the society...
They have power, which it's okay. They are talented people, and they have power, money, and media, and other things. And their attitude is Israel, my country, right or wrong, the identification. And they are not ready to hear criticism. And it's very easy to blame people who criticize certain acts of the Israeli government as anti-Semitics, and to bring up the Holocaust and the suffering of the Jewish people, and that justify everything we do to the Palestinians.
This just in, Israel passes law punishing settlement boycotters. This report is by Reuters, Jeffrey Heller. Jerusalem. Advocating a boycott of West Bank settlements could lead to financial penalties in Israel under a new law passed Monday with the blessing of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Critics of the bill pushed through Parliament by right-wing lawmakers called the measure anti-democratic and a blow to free speech. Parliament Speaker Reuven Rivlin said he had appealed unsuccessfully to Netanyahu to seek a rewording of the legislation after the Assembly's legal advisor issued an opinion that it, quote, impinges on political expression, unquote, in Israel. The vote, carried by 47 to 38 in the 120-seat plenum, went ahead amid an outcry from opposition legislators and civil liberties groups. What this law will enable is for anybody harmed by a deliberate boycott campaign to seek damages through the courts, said its sponsor Zeev Elkin, a member of Netanyahu's right-wing Likud party. Supporters of the bill said that its reference to boycotts based on geography was amid a countering calls in Israel and abroad for cultural and economic boycotts against settlements in the West Bank, occupied land Palestinians want for a free state. The issue grabbed headlines in Israel several months ago after leading performers said they would not appear at a theater in Ariel, one of the biggest settlements in West Banks. The Associate of Civil Rights in Israel, ACRI, an opponent of the bill, said that, quote, regardless of one's opposition to the question of promoting or opposing a boycott, it is unquestionably a protected form of free speech, unquote. In addition, Haaretz, a left-wing newspaper, said lawmakers who voted in favor of the bill were, quote, supporting the gagging of protest as part of an ongoing effort to liquidate democracy, unquote. Palestinian negotiators ERCOT said in a statement that making, quote, the boycott of Israeli settlement products punishable by law will send a clear message that Israel is not committed to a two-state solution, unquote. Some 300,000 Israelis live in about 100 settlements in the West Bank, territory home to 2.5 million Palestinians. Most world powers deem the settlements illegal, and in fact, in a UN Security Council, it was unanimous. The entire Security Council voted on a resolution to declare them illegal, and one country, which one was it? Who do you think it was? There was only one country, only one.
The United States has voted against the UN Security Council draft resolution that condemns continued Israeli settlement activities in the West Bank and East Jerusalem as illegal and demands Israel immediately and completely cease all such activities in the occupied Palestinian territories. The veto by the US, a permanent UN Security Council member, prevented the resolution from being adopted. The 14 other council members voted in favor of the draft resolution, co-sponsored by more than 120 UN members. The Obama administration's veto is certain to anger Arab countries and Palestinian supporters around the world. The Palestinian leadership condemned the move. The US opposes new Israeli settlements, but says taking the issue to the UN will only complicate efforts to resume stalled negotiations. The vote came after the Palestinians refused a compromise offered by the US in exchange for the withdrawal of the draft resolution.
While we agree with our fellow council members, and indeed with the wider world, about the folly and illegitimacy of continued Israeli settlement activity, we think it unwise for this council to attempt to resolve the core issues that divide Israelis and Palestinians. We therefore, regrettably, have opposed this draft resolution.
The proper message that should have been sent by the Security Council to Israel, the occupying power, is that its contempt of international law and the international community will no longer be tolerated. We fear, however, that the message sent today may be one that only encourages further Israeli intransigence and impunity. This must be remedied. Otherwise, we will face a situation where Israelis' illegal, reckless and expansionist campaign puts into final jeopardy the prospects for achieving our collective goal, the goal that will bring peace and security to our region.
I fought World War II. I had two brothers, many relatives.
Right.
There hasn't been persecution since World War II. You don't take other people's land. I mean, they didn't have to go anywhere, really, because they weren't being persecuted anymore, but they were taking other people's land.
You're talking about the Israelis.
Of course. They aren't being persecuted. They don't have the right to take other people's land. Under international law, occupied land should not be annexed.
Any comments on Israel? We're asking everybody today. Any comments
Tell
on
them to
Israel?
get the hell out of Palestine.
Ooh. Any better comments?
Remember, these people are occupied, and it's their land. It's not German, it's not Poland.
So where should they go? What should they do?
They go home.
Where's the home?
Poland.
So the Jews,
Germany.
You think Jews go back to Poland and Germany?
And America and everywhere else.
But but do you see the insensitivity of the remark that?
No, I didn't realize it would ring that many bells because they've been free ever since. I'm sensitive about the Palestinians being pushed around, knocked on the door at 3 o'clock in the morning. Get out of this house in 24 hours. 3 generations in refugee camps.
Okay.
Pushed from their homes.
I see. Do you consider yourself anti-Semitic?
Hell no.
You do not.
I'm a Semite.
You're a Semite yourself.
Of Arab background.
Well, I know you're Lebanese background, right? But you're not Jewish.
Well, what does that mean?
Well, no, you say you're. I'm just trying to clarify.
They're not Semites. I mean, most of them are from Europe.
The Jews.
Yes.
Well, Okay, but you see the other side of it. The other side of it is that the Jews are sensitive because of the history that they have
Well,
in the
everybody's
20th
sensitive
century.
when they're being pushed out of their homes. The difference is that count how many thousands of Palestinians are in jail now, thrown from their homes. 1 million refugees. Is that sensitive?
Everybody's got sensitivity points here.
Right, you're right.
Okay.
I'd like to point that out.
Okay. President Obama, do you like him? Do you think he's doing a good job? We started out the conversation before about it a little bit.
I think he lacks courage.
Mr. Obama does have a history of friendly relationships with Palestinian activists whom many have called anti-Israel. Edward Said and Rashid Khalidi are two of the most prominent examples. In American politics, nearly all national figures work to be seen as pro-Israel.
You're speaking to us from Chicago, so let's start with Barack Obama.
Barack Obama is not distinguished from the rest of the pack, except by how far he has moved to try to appease AIPAC and pro-Israel movements. I remember, Amy, I knew Barack Obama for many years as my state senator, when he used to attend events in the Palestinian community in Chicago all the time. I remember personally introducing him on stage in 1999 when we had a major community fundraiser for the community center in the Dheisheh refugee camp in the occupied West Bank. And that's just one example of how Barack Obama used to be very comfortable speaking up for and being associated with Palestinian rights and opposing the Israeli occupation.
Let me know if you see this guy named Barack Obama, because he sounds pretty scary. I know that when I visit AIPAC, I'm among friends, good friends.
He lacks courage.
And he's not a liberal. You take a stand on something in your life, you should have principle and stick to them.
But his better instincts and his knowledge have been censored by himself. And I'll give you the example of the Palestinian-Israeli issue, which is a real off-the-table issue for the candidates. Oh, don't touch that, even though it's central to our security and to the situation in the Middle East. He was pro-Palestinian when he was in Illinois, before he ran for the state senate, during the state senate. Now he's supporting the Israeli destruction of the tiny section called Gaza with 1.5 million people. He doesn't have any sympathy for a civilian death ratio of about 300 to 1, 300 Palestinians to 1 Israeli. He's not taking a leadership position in supporting the Israeli peace movement, which represents former cabinet ministers, people in the Knesset, former generals, former security officials, in addition to mayors and leading intellectuals. One would think he would at least say, let's have a hearing for the Israeli peace movement in the Congress, so we don't just have a monotone support of the Israeli government's attitude toward the Palestinians and their illegal occupation of Palestine. The question is not whether there are differences verbally or what they put on their website. The question is, what is their record? Senator Obama's record has not been a challenging one. He's not been a Senator Wellstone or a Senator Aberesk or a Senator Metzenbaum by any means. He has leaned, if anything, more toward the pro-corporate side of policy making. The issue is, do they have the moral courage? Do they have the fortitude to stand up against the corporate powers and get things done? Yes, get things done for the American people.
You take a stand on something in your life, you should have principle and stick to them.
Okay, you heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. Helen Thomas, we'll be right back.
leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.